regular town council meeting. So I just want to call to order the hearing, which is being held. It's the request for council decision 2025-077 bylaw 2756 to amend the road naming bylaw 2710. And so now that you know what it is, now we're just going to go into the adoption of the agenda. On the hearing, moved by Deputy Mayor Berwick, seconded by Councilor Merrill. Any further discussions, additions on the agenda? All in favor? Item number 3, declaration of conflict or of interest or pecuniary interest with changing the name change. Okay. Item number 4 is the, again, request for council decision 2025-077 bylaw 2756 to amend road naming bylaw 2710. And this is, this is renaming the Don Cave Court to Shell Lake Road. Just if anyone's not familiar with any of those, that's at Shell Lake. So the entire road at Shell Lake now will be called Shell Lake Road. 4.1 presentations in favor, A, written submissions.
We had one written submission submitted to Jenna via email, Judy Essigoff, and it says, "Good day, Jenna. Herbert and I are in favor of the name change. The name Don Cave doesn't come up on even a Google map. We have always thought of the name of the street as Shell Lake. Thank you, Judy Essigoff." And that is the only written submission.
Written submission. Are there any verbal submissions in favor of the name change? Come on up. Just press the button and you'll be live. Stacy, go ahead.
Can I press them?
Yeah.
So Stacy Christie, 10 Shell Lake, happy to have the name changed to Shell Lake Road.
Okay, you're happy, you're in favor? Okay. Any further presentations, verbal presentations in favor of changing the bylaw? Sheila, go ahead.
I'll just say, no disrespect to Mr.
Press
Cave.
the button.
Press the button. Talk. No, on, right on the blue button. Honora's got it.
Okay, no disrespect to Mr. Cave. But certainly for anybody, especially coming into town, Shell Lake makes a lot more sense because that's what you know the area as. And so I think it's a very wise decision for council to make. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Lenora, for helping. Presentation for 2, presentations opposed, written submissions,
None.
verbal submissions opposed. Seeing none. Senior admin officer points clarification or comments.
So you will not be making the motion now. You will be making it during the regular council meeting.
Okay. No further comments then, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Mhm.
Motion to adjourn the hearing, moved by Councilor Merrill, seconded by Deputy Mayor Barlick, all in favor? Carried, that's the first public hearing. Second public hearing is request for council decision 2025-078 bylaw 2757 to amend the zoning bylaw 2583. This is the town's current zoning bylaw, and the amendment will allow for tiny home villages or communities, and that will accommodate the NEPAT tiny village. So we are having to amend that bylaw because back when the bylaw was put in place in 2015, nobody had ever thought we would be putting in a tiny home village. So that's why we're amending this bylaw, and then we can proceed with the tiny home village. So adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councilor Merrill, second by Councilor Gillis. Any further changes to the agenda? All in favor? Carried. Item number 3, declaration of a conflict of interest or pecuniary interest with any, with this item. Seeing none. Item number 4, request for council decision 2025-078, bylaw 2757 to amend the zoning bylaw 2583. Presentations in favor, written submissions?
We've received no written submissions, with regard to adding tiny homes to the. recommended bylaw.
Are there any verbal submissions in favor of adding tiny homes to the bylaw?
Again,
Sheila, you've got a in favor of the change.
all I can say is that
Hit the
any,
button.
yeah, thank you. All I can say is that anything the town council can do to support or promote more housing for the unhoused, amen, glory, hallelujah, please do it. Because there's way too many people right now roaming the streets, unhoused and even unsheltered. Thank you.
All right, thanks. The bylaw doesn't stipulate which people will be going into the tiny homes. It just allows town council to approve a tiny home submission, but hopefully with that, we will have more housing in town.
Amen.
For 2 presentations opposed, any written submissions?
No written submission.
No written submissions. Any verbal submissions opposed to adding the tiny homes to the town's zoning bylaw?
Just because I'll give someone a heart attack, I'll stand, no, I don't
Oh,
want.
you don't. Lenore, do you wanna get that mic? Thanks.
Just with sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. Senior admin officer, any other further points, of clarification or comments?
Again, this second and third reading will happen during the regular council meeting. You don't require a motion right now.
Okay. Okay, motion to adjourn. Moved by Deputy Mayor Farrell, second by Councilor Merrill. All in favor? Okay, that concludes the 2 hearings that we had to do. Now we're gonna move to the regular council meeting. And we do have quorum. Do we have anyone online?
We don't have quorum.
Oh, we need 5 councilors?
Yes.
Oh, I thought,
Ned,
oh,
Ned was on there, but then we lost him. I'm just sending him a message.
okay. We're
Do you
just,
want to take 5?
What's
So
that?
do you want to take a moment for Ned to get back on for?
no, let's just see if we can get them back on while we're sitting right here. Yeah, so quorum is 50% plus 1 on the counselor, so we got 8 council positions, so we need 5 counselors.
So the mayor doesn't factor into that 8 year.
I guess not, no.
So he's just double checking.
Is 5 councillors, except in the state of an emergency meeting. This is not an emergency meeting. If quorum is present, the mayor shall take the chair and call the meeting to order. So yes, you need 5 councillors.
Okay, we got that, Ned's
Okay.
back. All right, Ned, stay with us, we need you. All right, so let's begin the call to order of the Town of Inuvik regular council meeting. I'd just like to acknowledge that we are within the Gwich'in settlement area, adjacent to the Inuvik settlement area, home to the Gwich'in, the Inuvik, other indigenous people from throughout Canada, other people from throughout Canada and the world, and all of this makes Inuvik a great place to live. Item number 2, adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councilor Merrill, seconded by Deputy Mayor Gillis. Sorry. Councilor, you both put your hands up, so you have a combination. Councilor Gillis. Any further changes that, additions to the agenda? All those in favor? Motion carried. Item number 3, declaration of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest with any of the agenda items. Seeing none. Item number 4, we've got the RCMP report, and we'd like to welcome Staff Sergeant Chris Wynot, and this was Chris's first council meeting as the new staff sergeant for Inuvik, and we'd just like to welcome you, Chris, and we look forward to your participation in the town at council, and we're looking forward to it. Jesse did a great job in the past, and we're looking forward to working with you, and I know our protective services has already started that, so again, welcome to town council and welcome to Inuvik.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. It's a bit about me before we get into the report. I've got 16 years of service in the RCP, all in the North, in the territories.
Wow.
Started Fort McPherson, Tuck, Clavic, Fort Good Hope, Ulahak Tuck, back to Clavic, down to Norman Wells, up to Tuck again, and now here in Inuvik. So
the first 16 years has been in the Beaufort Delta and Sawtooth.
you're right. And well, you say we always heard Inuvik was a great place to live, and we're thankful to be here with that opportunity. Experience life in the big city. And so I moved here with my wife and our 3 kids. Oldest is in grade 12, so he gets to graduate from these 3. Daughter's in grade 10, my youngest son's in grade 7. All hockey players, basketball players, and they've traveled here for tournaments over the years, but they're really happy to be here as well.
No, we're happy to have your entire family. That sounds great.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, living in the outskirts, I've been kind of peripheral involved with the policing in Inuvik, familiar with the issues that I believe you're facing, and was excited to be able to move here and help out. Because all our friends and families, they in the outskirt communities, they're affected by what's happening here. So, you know, we're here to help nip in the bud right from the source is exciting. We're happy to help. I've got an open door policy. Like, you guys ever have any issues or anything you want to talk with, feel free to stop by or send an email, and I'll do my best to meet with you and answer any of your concerns.
Great.
So August here in Inuvik. When I ran the numbers, and calls for service in Inuvik were down every month of the summer this year compared to last. And chatting with some of the members, they're not exactly sure why, but could be some of the more prolific offenders are in custody right now, or they're released on conditions, and we're checking them to make sure they're abiding by it. Another thing we couldn't ignore was that the Jordan's principal funding has ended. So sometimes we see a drop in calls for service when there's less disposable income for some of our clients. Some of the bigger files we investigated was an aggravated assault charge and some family violence. We had somebody carrying a concealed weapon charge, 3 missing people, and possession of prohibited weapon. That was a really great community investigation. Somebody called in, a vehicle was parked outside their house for a bit too long and asked us to come check it out. And you know, in our search of the vehicle, we took out a prohibited weapon that we think has ties to the local drug trade here. So thankfully, the community saw something suspicious and called it in. We acted on it and got something dangerous off the street. Some of our crime reduction strategies, lots of somebody say, okay. A lot of meetings with partner agencies. That's new for me. A lot of the partner agencies, I've never worked anywhere that had an ambulance before. So we used to wearing a lot of different hats in the communities, and one of those was driving people to the health center. So it's nice having these partners. So I'm trying to meet with everybody and learning what they offer and how we can work together to help the town. Met with Brian, we've worked together over the years and happy to continue that relationship as well here. Majority of calls are alcohol related. But yeah, we are aware of the drug problem here in Inuvik as well. Caught an impaired driver and yeah, involved in the community events quite heavily here in August. Some of the members playing, coaching softball, going to the Kui Water Park event, Fiddle and Flow, and yeah, meeting with the various agencies in town. A bit of turnover during transfer season, as the RCMP calls it, in the summer. So I obviously came and took over from Staff Alban. Constable Woodward, he transferred up to Inuvik from Fort Smith with his common law. So he's got some experience policing in the division. And yeah, Remy and Daryl transferred away after their time here. So currently fairly well staffed at the detachment, 12 out of 15 spots. It's good. Some of our members are quite junior, just graduated from depot, and it's good. The RCMP, they recognize Inuvik as a really good place to be a Mountie. And it's more like one of my sayings I tell people is more to being a Mountie than just being a cop. And you get to do that here in the North. And that's why I wanted to stay in the North quite a bit. You get that balance of community involvement, community policing, but some really interesting police work, and you can help people many different ways in that role. So excited that they're still sending cadets here and they get to learn to do that. So yeah, that's my perspective, what happened in August, and any questions you have or concerns.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Questions, comments from council? Deputy Mayor Barrett.
I don't know if you were gonna speak to this, your worship, but at Monday's meeting, we had some concerns brought up from one of our residents who happens to be here again tonight with respect to the amount of reckless driving and ATVs around town, including motorcycles and stuff. So I know you guys typically have had sort of 3 priority items that you tend to focus on at a time, usually identified in the report. So I don't know if doing some more traffic monitoring for that kind of activity, particularly the reckless driving, is the target around. I think there's a lot of people in the community concerned about some of the increasing risky behavior that's going on, which could potentially result in a serious accident or even a loss of life at some point. And again, it was mentioned on Monday, that kind of thing has happened before in the community. So I've definitely been hearing comments about it. I've seen it myself, and I think now we've had someone come to the council to see what can be done about it. So I'll just highlight that for you guys. When you're looking at some of your priorities for policing around the community, again, that may be one to consider.
No, I appreciate that. I know road safety is one of our. Appreciate that. I know road safety is still one of our priorities. And I know similar issues in the smaller communities with kids driving quads in the streets and the little dirt bikes and stuff. And my philosophy that's worked well is, if we don't notice you, we're not going to notice you. But if we notice you, we notice you. And people driving unlicensed vehicles on the road or in a dangerous manner, we can seize those little vehicles from the drivers and issue tickets. I already had a meeting with the Justice Committee about this, and they weren't aware that we're able to divert. So in lieu of writing a ticket to the child or the parents having to pay for it, we can send them to the local Justice Committee and they can, make retribution for the wrongs they're doing. It's kind of it's a step up from just a warning. It's more of a formal punishment before they get tickets and criminal records and whatnot. So that's a new initiative that we're going to be exploring at the detachment. And please, public's eyes and ears are out there. They see more things than we do at times, and call them in and name names. Like, this kid or this person's driving recklessly. We can go have a chat with them, hopes to curb it, but if not, then we've got a few other avenues Although,
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I would just note, while we tend to focus a lot on kids because they're often underage of being able to actually get a driver's license. There are adults who are doing some of this behavior as well. So
yeah,
we can't always pick on the kids for this kind of stuff.
you're right.
Yeah, there certainly seems to be an increased number of the smaller dirt bikes, motorbikes and quads on the road. At lunchtime, saw some young kid pretty much catwalking the entire length of the Aurora College parking lot before he hit back onto the road. And then 10 seconds later, there were two kids on a quad, no helmets, coming up Bumpus. So there's, and then just pulling into the parking lot here, two motorbikes went by and a quad, and one kid on the quad had a helmet, the other kid didn't, you know, so it's, yeah, there's certainly an increased amount of, ATV motorbike traffic, so, I know, Brian's gonna give an update on what the bylaw officers are trying to do as far as education, but, I think it's got to the stage now where we definitely need to hit the streets and see what we can do in regards to that. Any other further questions, comments on ATVs, motorbikes?
I'm curious if there's a particular time or area in town that you're noticing this behavior?
People are seeing or complaining about it in the evenings and even at 2, 3 in the morning.
Okay.
But also, I think a number of kids are taking quads and bikes to school. Cause the two that I saw were just as school was getting out, when people were going home for lunch. And because of the road closure, Gwich'in now, traffic is crazy on that road, and so they were just basically bypassing all the traffic and getting through. So I think as school breaks, I think we're seeing traffic, and then certainly in the evenings as just coming here with the two motorbikes and a quad. So I think those are probably the main time. On the weekend, it's probably throughout the weekend, but yeah.
Natala, Gwich'in, whatever the North Mart Road is up
Right,
there, it's similar and in that area.
Yeah.
It's a little,
Yeah, it's
But
pretty
that they
pervasive
have.
throughout town.
We're also seeing it on the west end. So I've had comments of,
It's all over.
Okay,
I said Wolverines.
yeah, I think it's throughout the entire town.
thank you.
Okay, the other issue that was mentioned Monday night was the increase in the number of vehicles with smoke windows or shaded windows. And the fact that you can't take a driver's license if your vehicle has those shaded windows, and we're just wondering, is that actually against the law, or there seems to be an increased prevalence of shaded windows?
So you're right, aftermarket tinting is illegal in
Tinted
the
windows,
Northwest Territory. And yeah, we can seize a vehicle's license plate or even tow the vehicle if it's not in compliance with these equipment regulations. So that's good to know that I've seen some around town. We can address that.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from council on any of the items mentioned Monday, or anything within Chris's report?
It's $115 fine for having those,
Pardon me?
the illegal tint is $115 fine.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think that's all the questions, comments for Chris. We'll move on. Thanks very much, Chris, and thanks. Great for your first meeting, very informative, and thanks for the background on yourself. It's gotta be a record for somebody 16 years to do all that time in the Beaufort Delta and SAW too, so that's great.
We enjoy it up here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Chris.
4.5 was the Inuvik Energy Security Project. We had a presentation from Travis on that, and I don't think, no, he's not here tonight, right? No, he's not here tonight. The only thing was, he had requested a motion from council of support for their project moving forward, and I think especially in regards to the putting in the temporary compressed gas facility so that Inuvik is able to use that gas starting in early 2026. And with Hill watering out, that will give us some natural gas security moving into 2026. So we just need a motion from council that that I can go ahead and write a letter of support.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Barlick, seconded by Councilor Romero. And so it'll just basically be a motion to, in favor of writing a letter of support. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? That's good, that's all we need, okay. Item number 5, public question period. Do we have any further questions from the public that aren't associated with any of the agenda items? Lenora, go ahead.
Thank you. I do have one question. If council will consider putting a light at the crosswalk on Kimingya between the school and where the shelter is. I've noticed while walking my children to school that there is a lot of traffic that comes over the hill from North Mart and could possibly cause an accident at some point, especially when there are drivers driving fairly fast over the hill and then having to come to a complete stop when someone's walking halfway through. I think it would be beneficial to have a light of some sort, a flashing light, to indicate that there are pedestrians walking.
So this wouldn't be a street light, you're meaning some type of pedestrian crossing light?
Yeah, you know, something like that's on, I think, Franklin and what was on Inuit, like a solar light that just kind of indicates. Sorry, like on Franklin and Inuit, you know, they had the speed sign.
Oh, yeah,
And then it tells you if you're going too fast.
okay,
Maybe something similar, just a flashing light saying, like a sign that says pedestrians walking
okay,
and
Yeah.
lights flashing.
yeah.
So that if you're coming over the hill, you kind of have an indication if someone's walking.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we can, thanks for that comment. We'll, what our process normally is, and we'll flag that now. We have several different committees. And so that will go to committees for staff and council to discuss. And then a formal proposal on implementing that will then come to council. Great, thank you. Deputy Mayor Barrow.
Yeah, sorry, Nora can correct me if I'm wrong in my interpretation, but I'm assuming you're looking for like a push button sign that has flashing lights.
Yeah, something
like-
like that.
At the Yukon in Whitehorse, if people are familiar with that, they've got the, no, maybe not quite that extensive, but something that definitely lets people know there's people walking, especially coming over.
It's just a safety concern, especially with all the kids coming back and forth.
Yeah, and that intersection is also used by Children's First, probably at least 4 times a day. When they're marching the kids through, so yeah, that would be very useful, yeah.
That would probably be a second one then. So the one that I'm talking about is right in front of the school here on King Minya to
Okay.
where, like, across
Oh,
the Ferry
okay. You didn't
building.
mean in front of North Mart, you were meaning,
King Minion Berger.
Berger Street.
Yeah,
and
that one.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it would probably be also great to have one in front of North Mart, because you're right, Children's First does have a lot of kids going back and forth, and then the Inuvik Native Band has their after-school program where kids are going there
No.
sometimes too.
okay. Okay, great. Thanks. Further comments, questions on that? Kelly? Oh,
No. Just with respect to the discussion around, ATVs and quads and use and, you know, the youth and the community, has the town of Inuvik ever considered, or would they be open to consider, you know, a safe place for, kids to use their motorized equipment, like you know, developing a park for recreational use type thing within the town limits? Any opportunity to encourage youth to do recreational stuff in a good way, would be nice to see. And then it gets them off the roads and into an environment where they could potentially excel in that area if they want. And with respect to that, I know there's organizations within the community that would partner on that sort of stuff, especially for the health and wellness of kids, right? So.
No, I think we could certainly partner on the NETAT dirt bike park, so we can look into that. I'm guessing there's probably some design factors that would have to be considered given the liabilities. No different than a playground. I mean, playground, can't build a playground anymore without having to go through several different tiers of regulations and stuff, but we could definitely look at, are there areas either within the town or close to town that could be used as a, dirt bike park or whatever it happens to be. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, because I mean, there used to be the bike track back here, but it got, shut down due to whatever reason, right? Maybe ownership change of the land or whatever, but it was there, and given the uptake in motorized equipment.
Yeah.
Might be a good thing to explore. Just wanted to add that based on the context of the discussion. See.
Yeah. Thanks. Nothing further for the public question period. We will continue on down item number 6, adoption of the minutes for the August 11th and 13th council meeting, moved by Councilor Gillis, second by Councilor Merrill. Any further changes needed for those minutes? All those in favor? Motion carried. We reviewed the action items from those minutes and previous minutes.
Just one other addition to that, I have Director Larman here as an action item from Monday night to speak to the ATVs.
Okay.
That way he can get on to fire training sooner than later, so if he wants to come and speak on that.
Yeah, so we'll do live fire training, but I got the crew out there already, but yeah, so I just wanted to talk about our ongoing efforts, what we do and how we're looking to just increase safety in general around ATV and motorized vehicle use. So we've done several initiatives with focus on ATV safety, youth and education sessions in partnership with these 3 schools. We've got that scheduled for actually Thursday, Friday this week. So we're sending police officers in to have a chat with high school kids, just about open and honest conversation about safety. It's for us, it's a lot less about the law and the administration behind it, and more about the safety aspects of it. We see the really unfortunate outcomes of motor vehicle accidents, whether it's in town, out of town, all sorts of different things. So we have a very unique perspective on this, and a very personal perspective for a lot of us as well. We want to talk to them about the real reasons why they need to wear helmets, they need to obey safety speed limits, and why there's restrictions on motor vehicles in certain areas of town as well. We've had a number of close calls with youth. We've had a number of bad calls with youth, all sorts of different things that we've experienced, and it's something we do take very, very seriously. We have that scheduled for Thursday, Friday, and we want to do a lot more with this as well. Our annual bike, we like to start young as well. We do the annual bike rodeo every single year. So we're out teaching them from a young age before they can get on a motorized vehicle, but how to properly give road signals, proper hand signals, how to operate just a bicycle on the road itself. We work with local businesses as well through that to teach them about just bike safety, general maintenance, and we give out helmets to everybody we possibly can. We gave out 40 helmets this past bike rodeo. We're working with local business to acquire more, to give out even more throughout the year and then the next bike rodeo as well. And it's something that we take seriously. We love running that program itself. It's really responsive to it. We get really good outcomes following that. From an enforcement perspective, our staff, we conduct regular patrols. We did over the summer, we pulled the statistics just for motorized vehicle, not vehicle, but like ATV type interactions. We had at least 60 patrols that were concentrated just on those type of activities within the town. We do try to concentrate on the evening hours. It's, as we noted, it's everywhere. It's all throughout town. So it's difficult to find one specific location. We know we've had at least 20 interactions specifically with ATV users, whether we've pulled them over, given them tickets, given them warnings, or just seized their vehicle until a parent can come and get it. There's different things just depending on what the actual circumstances are. We have a hard policy not pursuing them though. We're not gonna get into chases with people. It's dangerous. It encourages unsafe activities. It's not something that our officers are going to be able to do. We do note it. We try to get photos as much as we can. We rely on the public to give reports and as much identifying information as possible. One instance in the spring, there was someone bombing around quite often on an ATV, no helmet. I don't think he had a muffler on it either. We ended up getting photos. I found out who it was just through social media and paid a visit to the house. Probably one of the most successful things was that we were able to know mom and dad. We were able to talk about the real reasons behind it. They were wondering why they bought an expensive helmet for their child. They weren't wearing it. So it's a good education component. We have had 0 interactions with that individual since then. I should say negative interactions. So we've had positive interactions with him. We worked with Northmart to actually get coupons for positive reinforcement and positive ticketing. So we give it coupons for a slushie when we see a kid wearing a helmet. So we'll pull over to the side of the road, give that to them. We've done it with him. We actually checked them just to see what the follow-up was on that. Other situations, if they're not old enough to legally operate it, we can stop them on the road. We call the parents. Seizing vehicles is very difficult. We don't have an impound lot. We don't have an impound yard that's secure. We've run into some pretty significant issues with vehicles, with seizing them and maintaining the security of them. And then the GNWT under the regulations around seizing and disposing of motor vehicles is not really well developed outside of the Mechanics Act and the Garage Keepers Act. It's something that GNWT has struggled with through infrastructure, but we have as well. Just because a lot of the vehicles that we do interact with in those cases aren't necessarily viable to auction or follow the legal process for. Because it requires significant expensive advertising and things like that for a vehicle that doesn't work anything. Some of the situations, they're just, excuse me, best handled by the RCMP. That's if there's major safety concerns, if there's licensing and insurance issues, if there's any criminality or substance issues as well, we contact the RCMP. We have them available through dispatch, we have their back lines, we work with them regularly for different promotions and different activities that we're doing. I've met with Chris a number of times since he's started as well. We're looking to just partner with them on as many things as possible today. We want to educate the youth on the safe ways to do things, but we will enforce it if we absolutely need to. We're using technology to provide guidance and deterrence as well. So the speed signs, we're in a couple locations through town. We've taken them down. We're refurbishing them. One needed a board, so we've ordered a board for it, just waiting for that to come in. The other one needs a whole new solar panel because it's pretty beat up. We're going to repair those, get them out in better locations. And then we're also going to hopefully buy more. They're pretty expensive, but we think it's a worthwhile initiative. It's like we speed cameras. We don't want to issue surprise tickets and they don't really hold up too well. But we do want to advise people of their speed. We think putting them in strategic locations, they look at some mobile units, will provide more of a deterrence and education as well. I think a lot of people increase the speed, they may not even realize how fast they're going. At the end of the day, there's always going to be youth operating ATVs in our town. As Kelly mentioned, that there can be positive aspects of it. I'm positive that everybody in this room probably has a good positive experience with motor vehicles and ATVs throughout their life, and may not have been on the right side of the law and the bylaws all throughout. We want people to be safe at the end of the day. We're always going to provide education over hard enforcement, but we're willing to escalate if we absolutely need to. We can't be everywhere at the same time. Chris mentioned this, we do rely on the public to provide information. If we see a fire, we don't expect the fire department to just know to respond. We want to get a call from people as well. So if we can get provided information through any of our contact infos, or whether that's phone, whether that's email, in person, we name it. We have people, staff that are available 24 hours a day. We can respond to life safety emergencies and public safety emergencies and make sure that the community is safe. We'll refer to RCMP if we don't have staff available, or if it's not something that we can handle given the circumstances, because we do only have 3 staff. So sometimes if we're engaged in other types of activities, we do defer to the RCMP because they have significantly more staff throughout the day. But we want to get out there, increase youth safety, increase safety for pedestrians and everything else in the community. And we're just going to continue working on it. So.
Thanks, Brian. Questions from council? Councilor Wayman.
I noticed your positive reinforcement's working, actually. I was quite shocked today to see out of 12 quads to see only one without a helmet.
We-
So your positive reinforcement, which I've never heard of until now, is actually working. Now, as the one child, as we seen drive by, as you're coming in, was the one, he's an older kid. But I've noticed a lot of quads doubling and everything, all wearing helmets, so your word's getting out.
That's really good to hear, honestly.
I'm quite shocked, actually. I was just seeing it today and I was like, wow, there's helmets on a lot of kids. It was good to see.
It's amazing what slushies can do, and Northmore has been a pretty good partner on that.
It should.
Yeah. So we just make a point of every single time we see any kids on a bike, kids on a quad, on an ATV, anything else, we pull over, give them the certificate, we're all carrying them in the fire trucks and municipal enforcement, everything. And then to also, if they're not, so.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. Any further questions, comments?
Great.
Okay. Thanks again, Brian.
Thanks.
Back to training. Okay, so nothing new on the action items?
Other than that last action item,
Yeah.
can we just pause for a second, Councillor Day? We lost him again, and the next
His phone died.
number of agenda items require quorum for the vote.
I think as long as
long
the
as
counselors
it's-
are here at the beginning of the meeting,
Okay.
so we can bring him back in, so. But what we will do, so we can go to the next item. And then, hopefully he can get back on. Okay, item number 8.1, council decisions, and this is a requested donation of the Midnight Sun Complex for the Western Arctic Business Development Corporation Trade Show, the 10th to the 15th, 2025. We get a motion to get this on the floor, and then we'll have a discussion, moved by Councilor Merrow, seconded by Deputy Mayor Barrett. Discussion, questions, comments. We also have Suzanne here from the Western Arctic Business Development Office to answer any questions. Councilor Merrill.
This has been held several times in the past, right? We've made the same donation, correct?
I know we made it last year, and I think it's probably been going on now a few years.
Yes. Okay, so it's a good opportunity for the community.
Yeah,
Thank you.
With free admission.
okay. Any further comments, questions? All those in favor? Motion passed. Okay, now we're getting into the request for council decision, conditional use permit for new residents in special development zone 2, lot 11-9, block 1355, plan 1140 Shell Lake Road. Well, if we can get a motion to get this onto the table and have further discussion, moved by Deputy Mayor Barrett, seconded by Councilor Wayman. Go ahead, speak to this, Cindy.
So residences, Shell Lake is in the 2015 bylaw is still zoned as special development. And any type of development on Shell Lake requires council approval. So this is a residence, much like every other residence on Shell Lake, and it simply requires a conditional use approval because it's still designated as a special development.
Okay, any further questions, comments on the development proposal or permit? Right, all those in favor? Motion carried. Ned's not back yet, eh? Okay. Just have to remind me to look back there when we're voting. Okay, so. Yeah. There's several that are together and related, so we're. Just need to make sure we've got them all coordinated. So request for council decision 8.3 is the amendments to zoning bylaw. To permit tiny home villages, and this is all together, right? You can read down to the all 5.
I believe you have to put each motion on because they're they're separate. So the
Okay.
first motion that needs to be discussed is the second and third reading of the zoning bylaw to allow tiny homes.
On the last page of the briefing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Sorry, this is a super overly complicated because we have 5 motions that need to happen. So this is the first one,
Oh, okay.
which is motion to hereby approve second reading. To add, and then this is the next motion for the third reading, and then the next one is to accommodate the use.
Okay. So again, we'll. So when we get through these, just as we said, it's a little bit complicated, but I think staff have it all figured out. So the first motion we need is that be it resolved that town council hereby approves second reading for the following amendments to the bylaw 2583/P+D/15. Add to part 7 specific land use regulations, a subsection that states verbatim tiny homes. And then it has the entire tiny homes definition. Okay, so moved by Councilor Merrill, seconded by Councilor Gillis. Further discussion, and again, this is our third reading of this.
Second reading.
Second reading, sorry, the next one is the third reading. Try not to make it any more complicated, so this is the second reading of this. Any further discussion, comments, clarification? Also, we should introduce, we do have a number of people that we've had before. So we've got our development officer, Peter Schultz here. We've got Dean Smith, who's fully, I believe, is working on this project. Matthew George, who's working on the project. Then is Patrick Stewart is also working on the project. And, oh, Councilor Parrott's online.
Yes, just in case, Councillor Day, I asked Councillor Parrott to get on.
Okay.
Even though she's indisposed.
Yes. Okay. That's who's online also in regards to can answer any questions on this. Any further questions, comments on second reading? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Motion number 2, this is going for third reading.
Yeah.
Okay, there's motion 1B. Okay, be it resolved that town council hereby approves third reading of the following amendments, zoning bylaw 2583/P+D/15. Moved by Deputy Mayor Barlick, second by Councilor Merrill. Any further discussion, questions on third reading? All those in favor? Motion carried. Okay, so we've got those 2 done. Now we're going down to be it resolved that the town of Inuvik Town Council hereby approves the proposal to accommodate a conditional use prefabricated homes at the following location: 62 Franklin Road, lot 30, block 19, plan 1700, as per section 6.62 J of the zoning bylaw 2583/P+D/15. Moved by Deputy Mayor Barlick, second by Councilor Merrill. Any questions or comments on this reading? All those in favor? Motion carried. So that's. Now we're going to motion number 3. Be it resolved that town council hereby approves reducing the side yard setback from 2.5 meters to 1.5 meters. And the rear yard setback from 6 meters to 3 meters at the following location: 62 Franklin Road, lot 30, block 19, plan 1700, as per section 4.8C of the zoning bylaw 2583/P plus D/15. Moved by Deputy Mayor Barlick, second by Councilor Merrill. Questions, comments on this motion? Councilor Barlick, Deputy Mayor Barlick.
Sorry, just a quick question. Obviously, it's a significant change to the setback. And has protective services identified any concerns with accessibility?
No, as I clarified, on Monday, they reviewed, the site plan and we can still get around, we can still access the protective services can still get around. And be able to walk in between. And, there is also an email, that, Matthew provided that gave some more detail in terms of, what they've done to accommodate that. And it is all built to the building code with the clearances between the buildings, fire protection. All of those things have been put in place and there is confirmation of that, not only in the drawings, also in the email that he provided to us. Peter Schwartz would like to speak.
Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you. I'll share a screen.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I have been having a flurry of texts back and forth with Matt during this conversation, so I can be 100% clear. Over on the west side, from the earlier versions that we saw, some of us saw a month ago, the tiny homes were nudged eastwards, so we don't need a variance on the west side of the property anymore. For the side yard variance, the only place we need it is down here at Tiny Home Building 6, which is placed 1.73 meters away from the southeast lot line, which is adjacent to that small lot owned by the same folks that own the tiny home lot. And that's the only place we need a side yard variance for now. I had to have several messages with Matt to be 100% clear that I'm 100% sure that I'm giving accurate information, and I'm confident there. Over here, for the rear yard setback, we have the shelter and the accessible shelter. They are 3 meters from lot line. But this is that oddly shaped lot that has this dip in it. So the adjacent lot line is about 3 meters away from that lot line. So it is maintaining very close to the 6 meter away from the IRC office lot line. So the rear yard setback is essentially just a formality, in my opinion.
Great, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Peter. Any further questions, comments on this motion? On the setbacks, motion 3? Don't see anything else. Okay, all those in favor? Motion carried. Motion number 4, be it resolved that town council hereby approves the proposal for 10 spaces of off-street parking on commissioners' lands across the street from 62 Franklin Road, lot 30, block 19, plan 1700, to serve the residents and employees of the future detached Witchin Tiny Home Village as per section 5.142 and 3 of zoning bylaw 2583/P plus D/15. Moved by Councilor Merrill, seconded by Councilor Gilbus. Any questions, comments on the part that will be across Franklin Road on a leased lot from ITI? It's a 5-year lease. Councilor Gillis.
I don't know if you saw the drawings, Peter, but I'm just like, I looked at that piece of property after Monday's meeting. And how are we concerned with our utility there? Like if the amount of fill that's required, and I'm not a builder, I don't know, but if you need to build up that area, like with all the willows, right, to be 10 parking stalls. Then wouldn't you need to build up the ground because it's on an angle, and then just below that is our main Utilidad. Is there any concern there or? And maybe I'm wrong of understanding it, but I'm just looking at it with like, as a counselor with no building expertise, but this, and we know that's our name, like that is where
Drains the whole town.
drains the whole town, and we're about to put a whole bunch of landfill there, and I just don't wanna put any stress on our main utilidor.
Let's check with our development officer to see whether he's looked at those distances.
I'm
Do
gonna
you have a
refer,
map on that? Or are
I
you
can,
looking
and
at
I'm gonna ask Matthew to speak to that. I'll bring up the map on share screen. I'll ask Matt to speak to that. I'll, this is the main site. I'll find the map of the parking area.
Well, Peter does that. So the intention of that area is essentially have road shoulder parking. And it'll be the same sort of geotechnical design that we did on site. So we do raise it, as I think one counselor had pointed out. We do raise it as required to sort of be at the road elevation. And if there will be some natural slope in it for drainage. And to prevent, let's say, cars rolling off, I think that's maybe what she's hinting at. What we'll do there are Gabion sort of baskets. So it's wired baskets that essentially act as curbs. So it'll sort of prevent cars from, going over the edge, I think is what she's concerned about. So we'll line the back end that with Gabion baskets as recommended by our geotechnical engineer. The geotechnical engineer will oversee and approve the import fill that goes in there. And then that's about all that will be required for a gravel parking area. And then again, with some natural drainage.
Okay, thank you, Matt. So if I may restate what you just said, so it's clear in everyone's mind, cars turning in off Franklin Road are going to be perpendicular to the road, and they're going to back into the road. The nose will be pointed down. If they drive in, the nose will actually be pointed down, and there will be a wire gabion filled with rocks. They're using a wire gabion because water can flow through it. At the toe of the parking stall, just in case somebody forgets to put on their parking brake so the car doesn't roll off the side. But because the parking stalls are sloped downwards, southwards into lot 23, we're not concerned about the overall drainage pattern. Is that correct?
just on that, Peter, it looks like the parking entrance is off to the left of lot 23, and then the vehicles are parking there. Are you saying they're, or maybe Matthew knows this, are they driving in and backing out onto Franklin Road, or do they come into the parking lot, park, and then actually drive out through the entrance again?
No, they would come sort of right off the road there.
So is this parking entrance tag on this diagram, is that inaccurate?
That's likely, that's a leftover layer when we sort of revised it from the previous site plan that had the 20 lots.
Okay, so thank you. Yeah, I apologize, council. This is a very complex application. There's a lot of details on these maps, and that is an error on the map. For what I would request of the proponent is that a revised corrected version of this map be sent to me so I can, so the map that shows this on the final version of the development permit does not have this error on it. Would be my request.
Okay, Councilor Merrill.
So if I'm understanding correctly, people are driving into the spots and then backing out onto Franklin Road when they're leaving?
That is my understanding. Matt, is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Similar to some of that sort of storefront parking you have up on that main road, sort of north to the site. The intention is to sort of keep it sort of a condensed parking location, so it's closer to the site, so they can just simply sort of walk across the street. Maybe there's a sort of painted pedestrian cross area there. But the goal is to sort of have it right across from the project rather than have to walk down the street and go to the site.
So my concern is that they're backing out onto an already very busy road. We've already got issues where people are coming out from Alisteen's restaurant, parking across the street. I've watched so many near misses there, that if we're adding 10 more vehicles doing that just down the street, just as we come into a hill, I think that's really concerning, that they're not driving into a parking lot and then driving back out of a parking lot.
If I may, what I might suggest, if that is angled parking, accessible only by cars heading southeast, and they drive in at a 45-degree angle, nose forward, then it would be safer, because then they would be already at 45 degrees when they back out, and then they're only using the one lane when they're leaving the parking area. That would increase the safety profile of the parking lot.
But they're backing onto a very busy road that people tend to go quite quickly coming down that hill or into that area.
Yes.
So, sorry, so yes, people do tend to go a little bit quicker on the road, because those of us who've been here long enough remember when it was a 50-kilometer-an-hour speed limit on that particular road, but it's 35. So in theory, if anyone's going faster than 35, you're speeding. Now in this drawing, whether that's a carryover layer from a previous design, it still shows quite a large fill area. And I don't know if that's still the plan, if they're gonna be parking directly off the street. If that area is still planned to be filled to that extent, then there may be an opportunity to still continue to have that parking entrance and have people pull in and loop around to the parking stalls, which would alleviate that concern of backing onto the street. But I have to leave it to the proponents to that. And just to get back to Councillor Gillis's concern earlier, I don't think it was with drainage. It was with issues, say, of subsidence or slumping of that fill area. And whether that may have, if that were to occur at some point in the future, would that have any potential impact on that main sewage line? Is there, again, I don't see it on here, but is there any kind of plan for any bracing or posting to kind of secure, this would be the south edge of that fill, just to, again, for protection of that very, very important drain sewer line? So that one is a particular concern.
Yeah, and it is a general solid concern, but we would do pretty much what we did over on the west property line. So we just follow the geotechnical engineers requirements for benching of the bank, and then what we did in the instance of the west property line, we have to drive by there, we had to arm it a little bit with rip wrap or it's just 6-inch crushed rock just to prevent sloughing and to reinforce the bank. So it would be pretty much the sort of similar design to what you see at the west property, since the west neighbor's a bit higher. It would be just the same geotechnical recommendations carried over to the parking lot.
Sorry, just for clarification, that say 6-inch crush, would that be within the fill line as it's spelled out here?
Correct. And then
understand.
at the peak of it, you would have those sort of gabion baskets that are essentially curb stops or a protective wall for the cars from going too far over if they leave their car in neutral or what have you.
Okay, Joy,
So-
you've got a comment there, go ahead, move up.
And we
Yeah,
could
whoever
angle
wants
the
to go.
parking stalls if required, if that's what I heard Peter mention. I mean, that is possible as well. Doesn't change a whole lot with our intention for the area and the scale of it and size. So if that's preferred, it's doable.
So you're I'm drawing on the diagram now. So your gabion, or not, your crush wall will be here where I'm drawing, right?
Yes, essentially, yeah.
Okay. And then your gabions are going to be here at the end of the stalls.
Yeah,
Okay.
closer to the ends, but yeah.
Okay. So, um, the dimension, there's 3 dimensions that council and the participants should know about. When it's 90-degree parking, the parking lot stall should be 8 meters deep. When the parking is 45 degrees, it should be 6 meters deep. When the parking is 30 degrees, where the car is not is almost aligned to traffic, is 30 degrees, the parking stall should be 5 meters deep. If we go with 30 or 45-degree parking and add 1 or 2 meters of width to that 30 or 45 degrees, then the cars are at an angle, they can back out. You know, if it's a couple meters extra, they can back out and go align with traffic without having to get onto the road. So if you do some, for example, a 45-degree parking needs to be 6 meters deep. So if you make your pad 8 meters deep and have 45-degree parking, then the cars will have 2-meter width to back out and align with traffic before merging on to Franklin. I'm just throwing out options here, so we can come to a resolution tonight if possible.
Hey guys, can I add something?
Sure.
So-
Dean, whoever that is.
It's Dean Smith.
Oh, go ahead, Dean, sorry, can't see
So-
who it is.
The surveyor, this is the original drawing. The surveyor laid it out on site. We have orange stakes in basically the outline corners of this. And it's quite a ways away from the utilidor. So I don't think, I understand the concern there, but I don't believe it's quite possible that a car would get off of the pad and then down through the trees and willows to the utilidor. We're only building it up about 2 feet. And like Matt mentioned, we're maintaining slope south away from Franklin Road. So towards the utilidor, the main line there. The parking pad itself is not as big as it's made out to be in this older drawing. If we can stick with that and keep the stalls facing Franklin Road like that, maybe we can come in the parking entrance over and park facing Franklin Road. So you're just pulling directly out into traffic rather than backing out. Would that help mitigate these issues or concerns?
I think probably it's a safety concern for sure, and then the other concern was if any slumping or a vehicle rolling onto the utilidor, but if you said that it's quite a ways distance, then that's probably not likely. Kelly, you got a comment?
Yeah, Musty, just for context is we have approval to use right up into Alistine's parking. So that there's a quite a big space there that we're working with to accommodate these 10 spots. With respect to the concerns from Councillor Gillis, I understand what you mean by, if we're putting a mass amount of infill in there and if it's sloughing into the utilidor, that's correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what your concern is. And the way we're grading it is from the road that way, so we're trying to mitigate that concern that you have if we were putting in a meter or two of, fill, but we're not. So, I hope that clarifies that piece, but just for more context is that we have right to Alistine's where to accommodate 10 parking spots that we're trying to do, on any given time at Alistine's, you can see 3 or 4 vehicles in their portion that's a quarter of what we're trying to accomplish. So, there's quite a bit of space there for us to accomplish this. Apologies for the drawing maybe not being, the most accurate of what we're trying to accomplish, but that's why I think we have these discussions, so we can just clear that up for you folks. And totally understanding that we wouldn't want to put any risk to the main line. I mean, nobody wants to deal with that on a Friday with a car driving through.
-40.
You know, whatever time of season it is, I don't think anybody wants to deal with it. So we're not trying to put any risk to that, so we're trying to maximize the whole space there, which we have approval, you know, from GNWT to use. So,
This is the space you've got permission to use, Kelly?
no, the whole thing, so if you zoom out a little bit, like,
Just shrink it a bit, Peter.
so right to Alistine's,
Okay.
where they
so
have
this is
their,
here.
yeah, so we have
Okay,
that
you've
whole,
got this whole,
that whole quarter section, if you wanna call it.
right, okay, but this,
How deep?
the place that's across from there, so here's the utilidor. So the place that's across, the closest across from there would be down here, so this is the likely spot where you're going to develop for 10 cars, right?
Yeah, but with respect to, you know, the concerns about backing out on, like Dean mentioned, if we can accommodate that by coming in,
Yeah.
driving in and driving out.
Yeah.
You know, we'll do that, right? So, you know, just trying to find a solution for, parking. We do have
Yeah.
parking on site. I think there's 2 or 3 spaces right on site.
Yeah.
But you know, trying to create more spaces so we don't run into an issue like downtown drugstore type scenario, right? Like, we understand and we've watched all of your council meetings for the last 3 years and understand this council's concerns with parking, so.
So can I just clarify? So Kelly, you're saying that you could extend further up Franklin, which I guess is west on this map. And then that way you could come in and you're at the top of the hill, people could come in, park. And then would they going back out one entrance or they would leave right off those parking pads?
No, we could do exactly that, like Dean mentioned, is have them parking against Franklin versus.
Yeah.
Backing out into Franklin if that's a major concern, right?
I think it'd be a lot safer.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is a new project, it's going to create some. You know, challenges, but at the end of the day, like Councillor Barlick mentioned, it is a 35 km/h speed limit, and if there's traffic violations happening, we're gonna have to deal with those regardless of how the parking's situated, right?
And we had talked at Monday's meeting about the same idea of a flashing light somewhere in here, so people know that people will be crossing the road and just slowing things down.
Just adding to that, I think the town council tried in the last couple of years to have a stop sign there at one point, so maybe there's a possibility to revisit that if, you know, considering the tiny home village wasn't there prior, whenever those discussions were happening, right? So just some options.
Councillor Gillis?
It was also mentioned on Monday, Kelly, like that you have a daycare, I think if I remember, we approved that in the building, the main building. Is that correct or no?
No, so we've designed our building to accommodate a daycare if we ever need to, just with the building codes. But our building itself is not running a full-blown daycare.
Okay, and that's what I thought I remember seeing, and we were talking about like if there was a way to do drop off on that side rather than lugging a kid across that street, right?
Well, and we do have that option with the
Yeah,
parking
with the
that's there.
still, yeah. And so I guess, Peter, just like, you were working off of their map and just to give me confidence. In our processes, let's make sure we're working off of our map and we know where that utility is, because. When you see a buildup of gravel, which is what's gonna be needed there, because half that is on a hill, and I'm not an engineer by no means, but I'm just looking at it with eyes, and that looks flat and it's not, it's on a hill. And so there is gonna be buildup, and if you look at, and I'm only looking at where you put a bunch of gravel and there's this slope down. If there's any amount of pressure, anything going towards any of that utility that's main, like we're hooped, and so that's why I just want us to be looking at that when we're looking at the building, because you're drawing on their map. I prefer us be drawing on our own map that shows the utility and the setbacks and the concern, because if you put pressure of gravel or whatever, if it's wire baskets and that's great, just make sure that we're staying away from our utility, because that is very important.
I don't know
Yeah.
who's screen sharing right now, but can we just go to the street view in the little clearing right across from the tiny home village? You can see that There's probably only 2 feet of fill needed to get that close to road level there.
I'll just add something here, council is, we hear your concerns and we understand them, that's, and. You know, we are going to mitigate all that through, you know, building that, right, and. The slope, like, we wouldn't have proposed this if we didn't think it was possible to do. And, you know, we've had our surveyors and stuff survey that location and where the slope starts and stuff like that, and we wouldn't have brought it to you folks if we didn't think it was possible, so. We're asking to, you know, work with us on this and find a solution for a parking issue that the whole town has, you know, so.
Deputy Mayor Barrett.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. It's useful information. I guess in my mind, I thought there'd be a lot more fill needed. For some reason, I was thinking it was like over 1 meter required. So it's a little bit alleviating to know it's not quite as much as I had imagined in my mind. It's also comforting to know you have a bit of room for some flexibility. I think if you're able to design it to allow for that flow through parking, where they're pulling into an entrance and pulling street facing from behind, that would be ideal. But you know, regardless of whatever ends up happening, there's gonna be a bit of a change to traffic in that area and requirements, and people are gonna have to just kind of get used to it as well. Same thing when, you know, the new school went in and the whole traffic flow in and around the school had to be adjusted for everyone in the community. And it takes a bit of time and some people might get annoyed by it, but eventually it kind of becomes just the way things are done. But I think, again, I would just reiterate, if you can design it to allow for that flow through parking, I think that would be definitely the most safe and probably the least impactful change to that area for traffic flow. And again, I especially think about winter time when the roads are getting icy and you have a hill right there coming up. I think, you know, that's just the kind of concerns you have. If you can't do the flow through parking, then I think the angled parking is likely the way to go, rather than the straight pull in as it was showing on the map there. But obviously there's some things that can be done to adjust what we were showing. And if they can accommodate flow through, that would be the best in my mind.
Kelly?
Well, see, just adding to that is aesthetically, you know, there's a lot of nice birch trees and stuff in that location, and we're not proposing just clear cutting the whole area. We want to, you know, where we can, we're going to keep, you know, the nice birch trees. It was actually a request of Alice Dean's that we do that. And I mean, we did our homework. We went and asked people, right, what they liked and what they wanted us to do there. So, you know, we're gonna try to keep with that natural.
The original plan, oops, sorry, Kelly.
No, go ahead.
The original plan did have flow through, but that's also because we had, I think, 25 spots, and that's quite a lot of people. But the bylaw indicate we just need 10. And that's really all we're gonna need for a facility such as this. Plus we have the co-op car that the government funded that is gonna be used as sort of the more widely used means of transportation. But the old layer is still shown on the drawings. And so rather than even change the drawings, we could just, as Kelly mentioned and Dean, just keep the flow through as shown on the site plan, and raise slightly that the bank while following all the geotechnical measures and arming it. So you don't have any sloughing. You don't have the risk of anything blowing out there, and we still have the protective measure of the gabion baskets.
Okay, thanks, Matthew. Counselor, are you okay with, Counselor Wing?
If you go back to the map there, Peter, that you pulled up your drawing on, those two lots, there's 2 lots at the very end. If they move them up top, then we protect all our assets for utility. We have to put a buffer wall and all our, like, right at the bottom there. Those 2 lots there, because our utility is right below it. Even 1 lot away, we can put some kind of distance in between. Because it's all on slope there, right? Good point. I mean, the farther we put a buffer on our main utility is better for all of us.
Yeah.
One parking stall, I think there's a guardrail that's right there anyway, so if it moves up one or two parking stalls, since you have the whole area there, it protects our asset. And it's all downhill, so somebody goes off by accident, they'll actually stop. And it's actually quite a degree from the parking lot down to the culvert to the utility.
No, good point and good suggestion, Councilor Raymond, and it looks like, from Kelly, from what you were saying, you've got the room to be able to move it that way a bit, so I think that would be definitely a good suggestion. Just asking, Councilor, are you comfortable with our development officer, Peter Schultz, working with Matthew George to make sure whatever's done is safe and but for traffic and for pedestrians, but also ensures that it protects our utility? Okay, so Peter, if you could work with Matthew on that to make sure that the parking lot is developed safely, and then we can go back to the motion and have a vote on that. That sound reasonable, Matthew and Peter?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So both of you can work on that. Okay, so we've got a motion on the floor, motion number 4, be resolved. I'm just gonna read it again because we've had lots of discussion. Be it resolved that Inuvik Town Council hereby approves the proposal for 10 spaces of off-street parking on commissioner lands across the street from 62 Franklin Road, lot 30, block 19, plan 1700 to serve the residents and employees of the future NETAT, which in Tiny Home Village, as per section 514(2) and 3 zoning bylaw 2583/plea+D/15. Any further comments, questions? Councilor Merrill.
Can we include in there what you just said about it being a flow through parking? We need to add that in, or we're just gonna go on good faith?
Well, I think there were a number of things that we had discussed. Now, whether we can rely on Peter to deliver those, or whether you want to put them right into the motion.
Peter, can you add those as conditions to the development permit?
Yes. So I understand two conditions. One is that it'll be drive-through parking, so the cars will enter. They'll drive up behind the lots and then drive up so the nose of the car is at the road. And the second one is that the 2 eastward lots will be moved over to the west side so that the whole line is moved farther away from the utility. Those are the 2 changes that council wants, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so he's gonna include that on the condition of the development permit, so the motion will not just stay the same, just in general approval.
Makes sense.
Kelly?
Just with respect to, just touching on good faith question is, if we tell you something, we're gonna stand behind it, right? We're not gonna get fancy later and come back to you and get creative. So just, on a personal level, if we tell you something, we'll do it, right? So.
I believe.
Yeah, and I think it's a safety concern for all the future users for sure, and we just wanna make sure that any of our residents are safe coming, going out of there, and people walking across the road, so whatever we can do to make it safe. Deputy Mayor Barrett.
Yeah, no, thank you. And, our development officer has heard all our concerns, and I think he's got a thorough understanding of the issues we've raised. I'm confident he'll work with you guys to come up with the best solution.
Yeah, and certainly Matthew and the rest of the team working on the project have been great and been very responsive, so got a lot of respect for that team, so. All those in favor of the motion? Motion carried.
Last one.
Last one, hang in there. Motion 5, be it resolved that Inuvik Town hereby grants a discretionary use of the tiny home community to lot 62 Franklin Road, lot 30, block 19, plan 1700 for the NETAT, which in Tiny Home Village, as per section 6.6.2 of zoning bylaw 2583/D/15. P+D/15. Motion to get that on the table for discussion, moved by Deputy Mayor Barelick, seconded by Councillor Merrill. Discussion.
This is the conditional use approval now.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, after all that
Make sure we're
discussion, now we're
all set.
proving that it actually be used on the site. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Yeah, that was a lot simpler. Motion carried. And that ends, I believe, those.
Yes.
Okay, so I can take off all of 8.3, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
Good luck with the rest of the development.
Good luck.
Ms. Kelly?
You did it.
How the work starts? Then we'll be on
Great
to,
job on the work, Kelly. Really amazing. Thank you.
okay,
I'll take your hat, I don't mind. Probably see me in diapers, so we're good.
all right.
So just bylaws now.
Yeah. Just lost my agenda with this one.
I don't have the agenda.
Thank you, Worship. I'll sign off, if that's all right.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Peter.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, item number 9, bylaws, we have request for council decision, amendment to the business license bylaw to include regulation for mobile food vendors. This is the third reading. Get it on the table, moved by Councillor Wayman, second by Councillor Gillis. Any further, this is the third reading, any further discussion needed on this? All those in favor? Motion carried. Request for council decision 9.2, amendment of the Highway Traffic Act to include regulation for mobile food vendors, again, the third reading, moved by Deputy Mayor Barelick, second by Councillor Wayman. All those in favor? Motion carried. 9.3, request for council decision, bylaw 2757/Gen/25, a bylaw to amend road name bylaw 2710/Gen/23 Schedule A. This is renaming all Shell Lake Road. It's moved by Councillor Merrill, second by Deputy Mayor Barelick. Further discussion? All those in favor?
This needs a second and a third reading.
Oh, okay, so that was the
Second reading.
second reading, now we need the third reading. Okay, the same mover seconders. Councilor Merrill, all those in favor? Third reading, motion passed.
I think we're done.
We're done all the bylaws, we don't have departmental updates, any new information items? Nothing new, okay. There's one information item. Councilor Wayman may know the answer to this. Do we know when the road blockage on Mackenzie will be done?
Hopefully in 3 days.
3 days?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, okay,
Depends on the water and
yeah,
gas lines and phone lines and every other line in there.
yeah. So stop by there a couple times. The guys are working hard at it to get around everything that's there. And yeah, now it's just done the demolition, now it's just the construction. So yeah, that would be great. It's amazing how much traffic would normally flow down there. Vehicles were lined up from the corner of Brainat all the way to the arena at lunchtime.
Yep.
And people have never seen so much of River Road driving the other way. The Coast Guard wants their quiet little street back. Any, item number 12, any new council concerns? We don't have any in-camera sessions, motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilor Gillis. Thanks, everyone, thanks for coming out, thanks, staff.
Thank you.